What's up, guys? It's Jaelen here with IG360, and first of all, happy holidays to all of you guys. Welcome to IG360's 2012 Holiday Gift Guide, and this year I'm bringing you 3 different categories: tablets, mobile phones, and video games. All going to be 3 different guides. But this opening clip is just to basically tell you that a lot of the electronics that you're going to find across all these guides are available on Amazon. So if you go into like a Best Buy, a GameStop, Apple Store, wherever it may be, and they don't have the item in stock, check Amazon because they most likely will have it in stock. They may be charging more for it because of this, but at the same time, if you really want to get that gift, it may be worth it. But this is the 2012 Holiday Tablet Guides. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. So this year we have 5 contenders when it comes to tablets. We have the Apple iPad mini, the Apple iPad, the Google Nexus 7, the Google Nexus 10, and the Microsoft Surface. So let's go ahead and start off with the hottest tablet this year, which is the Apple iPad mini. This is Apple's most recent iPad in their iPad family now. This thing has a 7.9-inch display, so it's very portable. It's also super thin, adding into the portability. It has a back camera and a front camera. The back camera is capable of recording full HD 1080p videos, and then the front-facing camera is 720p HD for FaceTime calls. The iPad mini also has Siri built in, so if you're not familiar with Siri, that's Apple's voice assistant, which is probably the best voice assistant out there alongside of Google's S-Voice as well. This tablet is great for kids and teenagers. Movies, books, apps, music, all are things that kids and teenagers love. Younger kids will be more than happy to receive a mini, but teenagers, if they were to receive an iPad, they would also be satisfied. However, they may be looking forward to maybe the full-size iPad instead. Something to keep in mind, though, is that the iPad mini is a non-Retina display. Now, what this means is Retina is basically Apple's display technology that is full HD and it looks outright gorgeous. It's built into most of their recent devices, but the iPad mini did not get in on the Retina deal, so it's non-HD. So if your gift receiver has been using Apple devices, more recent Apple devices, they're probably used to a Retina display and will definitely be able to tell the difference when looking at the display. This is not a deal breaker for the most part, but at the same time, if your gift receiver has been using recent Apple devices, has been using Retina displays, HD displays, they'll notice the difference. And most of the other tablets out there actually do have HD displays, so this is just a fault on Apple's part for not building in an HD Retina display. Another thing to keep in mind is that the iPad mini has Apple's new Lightning dock connector on the bottom. We've been used to Apple's 30-pin dock connector on most of the Apple devices in the past few years, but this, along with their new devices, has the Lightning dock connector, which is a smaller, completely new cable and dock. So you're going to need new accessories for your gift receiver, so meaning you can spend up to or well beyond $100 in getting different adapters and cables for this thing, so that it's compatible with what you already have laying around the house. Now on to the pricing and availability. So there's 2 different color combinations, the black/slate model and the white/silver model. There's Wi-Fi only, and there's Wi-Fi and 4G LTE. So that's 4G speeds. If you want, you can have just Wi-Fi, or if you want to get the Wi-Fi and 4G model, that basically means, in case you don't know, you can use it outside of the house, outside of Wi-Fi areas, and get 4G speeds off of different cellular wireless networks. But the pricing starts at $329 for 16 gigabytes Wi-Fi only, and that can go up to $529 for the 64 gigabyte Wi-Fi only model. 64 is the biggest size capacity available. And then for the 4G, LTE, and Wi-Fi models, that starts at $459 for 16 gigabytes and can go up to $659 for the 64 gigabyte model. Now, staying in the Apple camp, I'll move into the full-sized iPad. So this is the 4th generation iPad. It has a 9.7-inch display. That's a full HD Retina display as well. So you do get that HD screen that the iPad mini is lacking. This is awesome for students. You have that big screen, good for taking notes, reading books, watching movies, etc., etc. It does have the same camera setup as the mini. It also has Siri built in. So basically, imagine a better and bigger iPad mini when it comes to the 4th generation full-sized iPad. It also has Apple's new Lightning dock connector, so keep that in mind when it comes to accessories. Same thing goes. And it comes in 2 different color combinations as well, black or white, Wi-Fi only and Wi-Fi LTE models. Pretty much, the same data thing. I just want to say that when it comes to data is available. The LTE models are available without any type of contract. It's pretty much pay as you go when it comes to the data, or pay as you need rather, from the device itself. So you don't have to sign a new contract if you want to get a Wi-Fi and AT&T model. Let's say you can just buy the iPad and then pay for the data as you need it straight from the device. But anyway, moving into the pricing, the Wi-Fi only models start at $499 for 16 gigabytes and go up to $699 for 64 gigabytes. And then the Wi-Fi/LTE models start at $629 for 16 gigabytes and go up to $829 for 64 gigabytes. Now moving into the Google side of things, I'm going to go with the Nexus 7 here. This was the first all Google tablet that Google released over the summer. So this is Google's own tablet. It's actually manufactured by Asus, but it's, for the most part, it's Google's tablet. But this is a 7-inch tablet, so it has a 7-inch display. It's good for kids and teenagers. HD display. It also has Google's voice assistants, so basically Google as voice. Also, one of the best voice assistants out there alongside Siri. S Voice and Siri are probably neck and neck. They're both just about even. Also has NFC built in. If you don't know what that is, that means near field communication. So you can take advantage of Google Wallets. Basically what that is hooking up your credit card to your NFC device, being the Nexus 7 in this example, and you can pay at checkout lines using your Nexus 7 as your credit card. Basically, it can also be used in situations of sharing contacts and information with other devices that have NFC built in. So if you just want to tap your Android device or your NFC device against another device that has NFC, you can share pictures, contact information, map data, whatever that may be. It's a really neat feature that the Nexus 7 takes advantage of. But it has one camera on it that's on the front. It's a 720p HD front-facing camera. So that's basically just used for like Skype calls. This tablet is great for browsing the web, watching movies, checking email, social networking, the whole nine. It uses apps from the Google Play Store. And the Google Play Store, I just want to say, is limited on tablet apps, or at least apps that are specifically designed for tablets. A lot of them are just phone apps blown up to tablet proportions. So keep that in mind. There are plenty of apps on the Google Play Store that you can use on the Nexus 7. However, they are not optimized for the Nexus 7. They'll work just fine, but as far as design goes, it's not exactly how it's meant to be on the Nexus 7 or other tablets for that matter. Probably won't matter if you're getting this for a younger kid. They really won't care. But if you're getting this for someone older, they'll probably notice the difference. And not saying that they won't be pleased with this, but at the same time, there are much better experiences out there. Now moving into pricing and availability, so there is just one color combination, and that's just black. And then there's a Wi-Fi only model and a Wi-Fi/3G model, so not 4G but 3G, so you're not getting that fast 4G LTE speed. But anyway, as far as pricing goes, for the Wi-Fi only model, 16 gigabytes is $199, and then goes up to $249 for the 32 gigabyte Wi-Fi only model. And then for the Wi-Fi/3G models, it goes with just one model is available if you want 3G. That means you have to buy the 32 gigabyte Wi-Fi/3G model, and that's $299. But as far as pricing goes, this is probably the best priced tablet available on the market right now. I mean, $199 is an excellent pricing point, and Google really surprised everybody with this when they first announced this over the summer. And staying with Google, on to the Nexus 10. If you can't tell by the name, the Nexus 10 is basically a bigger version of the Nexus 7. However, it is also faster, stronger than the Nexus 7, so it's not just bigger. It is on the inside, it's a different tablet. But it has a 10.1-inch display, so a lot bigger on the outside. great for students, just like the full-size iPad. The Google Nexus 7 has a big screen, good for movies, books, notes, whatever a student may need. Has an HD display, best on the tablet right now, right next to the iPad. The Retina display and the HD display that the Nexus 10 is packing, both of those are neck and neck and look outstanding. Good for playing games on, browsing the web. That giant screen is nice to take advantage of. It has a 1080p HD camera on the back, and I believe it has a 720p HD camera on the front as well for Skype calls. Has NFC built in as well, so I explained that in the Nexus 7 part. And then it also does have Google Voice built in as well, just like the Nexus 7 did, or does. But when it comes to the apps, same issue as the Nexus 7. It gets its apps from the Google Play Store, so once again, phone apps are basically, phone apps blown up for tablets. This is not all apps, I'm just saying that a lot of them, there are some apps out there that are specifically designed for tablets. But moving into the pricing and availability, right now there's only 2 models available. They're both Wi-Fi only, and that's 16 gigabytes for $399 and 32 gigabytes for $499. And now on to the last tablet, which is the Microsoft Surface. This is Microsoft's first tablet. I'm sure you've seen the commercials on TV about it. But this thing has a 10.8-inch display, HD display as well, 720p HD camera on the back and front. It has a USB and mini HDMI port on the side of this thing, which is something that you don't see in the other tablets that I mentioned in this guide. It also has a built-in kickstand on the back, so you can prop this thing up on a table and just go at it. And this is really, really good for students because of the kickstand on the back. You can put this thing on the table. It also has what's called a touchpad accessory. If you've seen the commercial for this device and you've seen the touchpad, it's basically that keyboard that's attached to the bottom of the device, and you can type using the keyboard on the Surface. But those are the major good things about this device. It does have, a lot of upsides to it. It's running Windows RT, which is Microsoft's pretty much tablet OS, and it looks really nice. The tile interface is awesome, very new, intuitive, but it does have a lot of cons as well. Some of the main ones is that the form factor of this device, it's strange. It's very wide, and it's too wide. It's to the point where you can't really carry it around and use it with one hand. It has to be set down on a table. It's kind of hard to set it down in your lap because it's too wide. I'm not saying that it's too heavy or anything like that. It's just that the proportion of it is just off. It's too wide to be used in a lot of different situations. Anyway, moving on to another con. A good amount of the apps take a little long to load, which is something that's commonly noticed. For whatever reason, it just seems to hang around when you tap on an app and the app is loading up, and it just kind of hangs there for longer than it should, and then the app will open, but it's definitely noticeable. And then there's only 3 models available. This isn't really a con, it's just something I'm pointing out. Only 3 models available, all in one color, which is black, and this is Wi-Fi only. So the pricing starts at $499 for 32 gigabytes, $599 for 32 gigabytes plus the touch cover, and $699 for 64 gigabytes plus the touch cover as well. And the touch cover is one of those things that you really want to get with the device because it's just one of those accessories that you really want to have along with the device. The Surface is still an awesome tablet without the touchpad, but with it, it makes it that much better, especially if you're getting this for a student who's looking to take notes on this device. Definitely get the touchpad. If you want to buy the touchpad or touch cover, sorry, I've been calling it touchpad, it's called a touch cover, but if you want to get the touch cover without the tablet, if you just want to buy it on its own, the touch cover is $120 by itself, and then there's the type cover, which is instead of the touch-sensitive keys, it's actual physical buttons. It's $10 more, so that's $130. So if you're gonna get the touch cover, I'd recommend that you just buy it along with the bundled 32 gigabyte $599 model, or the 64 gigabyte $699 model. Sorry, I can't talk apparently. But yeah, moving right along. So I listed all the contenders into a list of 5, ranging in numerical order. Number 1 being which tablet I recommend the most to gift this year. Number 5 being the tablet I would least recommend getting this year, if that makes any sense. But you get my point. So I'm going to start out by saying that the first 2 are the ones that I recommend the most, and then the other 3 are still good tablets, but I'd recommend the first 2 over the other 3 when it comes to giving them as gifts. So number 1 is the Nexus 7, number 2 is the iPad, number 3 is the iPad mini, number 4 is the Nexus 10, and number 5 is the Microsoft Surface. So which tablet should you gift this year? Well, your best bet is either the Nexus 7 or the iPad, since they are the first 2 on the list. The iPad mini is going to be on a lot of wish lists this year, but I would honestly recommend the Nexus 7 over it from what I've seen. Yes, you have to deal with a lot of the apps being big phone apps, but besides that, it's just as good, if not better, than the iPad mini. They're almost completely even when it comes to specs, but the Nexus 7 is $130 cheaper than the Mini, only $200, and it has an HD display, which the iPad Mini does not have. If your gift receiver wants a small tablet, then get them a Nexus 7. If they want an iPad Mini and also have other Apple devices in the house to go along with it, then just get them the Mini. But if the iPad Mini is going to be one of their first Apple devices, seriously consider the Nexus 7 before running out to an Apple retailer. But why not the iPad Mini or the Surface? Well, the iPad Mini needs a Retina display. I mean, all of its competitors have Retina displays. I mean, all the other top tablets that I mentioned have HD displays. So in order to compete with those, it needs an HD display of its own. I mean, I have no idea why Apple sent out or basically offered the iPad Mini for sale without giving an HD display first. It's the new norm. What were you thinking, Apple? The Surface, it's just not there yet. I would say wait for the second generation. Because it needs some major revisions to the design of it, or the form factor at least, and just the tablet overall, it needs some major revisions. The form factor is just too irregular. Like I said before, it's just strange, it's off, and because of that, it can't compete with its competitors, like the iPad and the Nexus 7. And also, the Surface uses the Microsoft App Marketplace, and the Microsoft App Marketplace is very lacking. I understand this is mainly because it's fairly new compared to the Google Play Store and the App Store. But at the same time, it just doesn't have a lot of apps in it. As simple as that. That was pretty much how the Google App Marketplace first started off. So, over time, it'll get more apps. But again, I'm saying wait till the next generation, or maybe even the one after that, before you go out and buy a Surface for somebody. That's going to do it for the tablets. Once again, the list goes as number 1, the Nexus 7, number 2, the iPad. Those are the 2 that I'm recommending this holiday season. If your gift receiver wants a tablet, if they want a smaller one, get them the Nexus 7. If they want a bigger one, get them an iPad. Number 3 is the iPad mini, number 4 is the Nexus 10, and number 5 is the Microsoft Surface.